Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we plunge into your most intriguing sources to unearth surprising nuggets of insight. Today, we're not just reading articles, we're stepping into a really unique and captivating world.
That's right. Our source material today is Letters of Misunderstood Magic, Volume 1 by Abigail Pierce Winters. Now, it's a collection of fictional correspondence, sure, but within these letters, you'll find such a rich tapestry of wisdom.
Wisdom, yeah. Like what kind?
Well, it's this fascinating blend of practical magic, really profound philosophical observations, and some sharp commentary on reality, all through the eyes of these extraordinary women.
Okay.
Think of it almost as a shortcut to understanding a hidden reality, where what's misunderstood might actually be the most potent truth,
Interesting. So our mission for this deep dive is to explore how these sisters of misunderstood magic, as they're called, how they navigate their incredibly complex world.
Yeah, blending their unique abilities with just everyday life.
Right. And how their insights can offer you, listening, a fresh perspective on your own reality. We're going to uncover some truly captivating details, I think.
Definitely.
So let's start at the very heart of these letters with the foundational idea of magic itself. One of the sisters, Tess Parks, she defines magic as the alchemy of the soul, where the base metal of experience is transmuted into the gold of wisdom. That's quite a definition. It's not about waving a wand, clearly. It's about a deep internal transformation. How does that core philosophy actually, play out in their daily lives?
Well, it's a truly profound starting point, isn't it? And this collection really shows us how these powerful women find the extraordinary in the seemingly ordinary, and importantly, how tangible and applicable this insight becomes.
Okay.
Consider the teachings of Aunt Hild, who Ivy talks about. Aunt Hild believes scent was, and this is a quote, the most direct path to memory and magic, and could even open doorways between realms.
Wow.
Yeah. And she even taught that intention shapes reality in something as, mundane as crocheting. She'd say, your thread is knotting because your intention is tangled. It just highlights how deeply interconnected their inner state is with their outer creations, right down to the smallest detail.
Yeah, and that detail, that intention, it even shows up in how they cook, right? This core philosophy seems to permeate everything. Tell us about Margaret, the Mountain Witch, and her friendship bread.
Absolutely. Margaret, she adapted this double chocolate focaccia recipe into what she calls friendship bread. And she really emphasizes that she infuses intentions and blessings into the dough during the extended mixing time.
Intentions into the dough.
Right. And she even chooses the type of chocolate, 60% or 72% dark, based on the recipient's nature.
Get out. Seriously.
Seriously. It's a striking example of how deeply they connect their inner state to what they create for others.
Yeah.
And it certainly makes you reflect on the energy we put into our own creations, doesn't it?
It really does. And it's not just food for others, is it? We also see Margaret applying this intentionality to her own sort of self-care routines.
Exactly. Margaret also shares her triple threat dandelion coffee recipe. And she highlights the dandelion's generous spirit and its ability to detoxify the liver and ground excess energy. She says it helps her maintain neutral detachment amidst chaos.
Dandelion coffee for neutral detachment. Okay.
Yeah. And even Nyla, who's got this really sharp wit, she calls it dirt with ambition. But she still drinks it.
Huh. Okay, so it's not necessarily about taste?
Not always. It's about harnessing nature's power with deliberate intention for self-care and resilience, even when it might not be, the most delicious option.
Okay, so thinking about how intention shapes reality, one of the sisters, Ivy, she makes this really critical self-discovery. She uncovers something she calls rough magic, which sounds intriguing. What can we learn from her realization there?
Oh, Ivy's discovery of rough magic is, I think, a profound takeaway for all of us, really. She observed how her sister Tess managed to transform her body, not by, meticulously holding the details in her mind, but just the goal.
Just the end result.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Ivy then realized her own magic had been, and these are her words, infused with fear and a desire not to hurt others, which led to less potent outcomes.
Ah, okay. So the intention wasn't quite pure or focused.
Precisely. It's a powerful reminder, isn't it? Even with the best intentions, if they're not crystal clear and unburdened by fear or doubt, their true impact might be rougher than we anticipate. Makes you think about how often our own hesitations might subtly undermine our goals.
That's such an insightful distinction, and this understanding of intentionality isn't just about avoiding that rough magic. It seems to extend directly into how they approach personal healing and even subtle spells.
Absolutely. The sisters apply this intentionality to self-care in some really fascinating ways. Ivy, for instance, receives a self-love potion, and she actually notes its beneficial effects on her dreams and, strangely enough, even her chickens.
Your chickens, okay.
Yeah. And Anne Hildy's memory tea, which you take with a specific question before sleep. That's another example of a subtle spell designed for unlocking forgotten knowledge. It just shows how deeply they integrate these practices into their everyday well-being.
It's very practical in its own way, and the profound lessons seem to continue even when things get tough emotionally. Like when Ivy is struggling with past resentments towards her sister, Tess, Margaret helps her reframe it.
Right. Margaret helps her see that holding on to old wounds is basically unfair. And this insight actually prompts Ivy to develop her own powerful tool.
Which is?
It's this Mater tea, also called Sight Beyond Sight. And it's designed specifically to help her see our maternal unit more clearly, that's the phrase she uses, and make a difficult decision.
Maternal unit. Sounds a bit clinical, but I get the idea of seeking clarity.
Exactly. And that transformation, from resentment to seeking healing and clarity, all through making and using a simple tea.
Right.
It's almost poetic, isn't it? It truly elevates personal healing into what they consider a vital form of magic.
It really does. Okay, shifting gears a bit now, this deep dive also introduces us to a rich and incredibly complex cosmology. We're going to encounter some unique terminology as we explore how they understand the world.
Yes, there's a whole framework here.
So first, there are temporals. These are described as beings living in the present world who are sans consciousness of the unseen, largely void of magic, sort of like ordinary, unaware people.
Pretty much, yeah. Then you have magicals, or Magicae, as the text sometimes says, like our sisters, who possess supernatural abilities and heightened senses.
Okay, magicals. Got it. But then there are the cryptids. What exactly are these hidden beings?
Cryptids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ione, who's their expert in what she calls cryptological criminal psychology.
Cryptological criminal psychology. That's a title.
It is. Anyway, she defines cryptids as hidden, occult, mystical. And this category includes quite a range. Shapeshifters, necromancers, hybrids, dark sorcerers.
Wow, okay.
And a key insight from Ione's really detailed observations is that they are highly deceptive creatures.
Yeah.
Crucially, she notes they often follow a predetermined program set by the P.T.B.
P.T.B.
The powers that be is an acronym they use apparently for secrecy during something called the Soul Wars and amidst censorship.
Right, okay, so these cryptids are deceptive and possibly controlled.
That's the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Ione even notes how human cryptids display base animal behaviors. They watch their prey closely, have little body movement. And quite chillingly, she describes them as voluntary slaves to the system without desire to survive. It paints a rather stark picture of a hidden, controlled layer to reality.
That is stark. And Ione's research offers these chilling insights into how these different realms interact. And she directly challenges what people might find online, right? She calls the interwebs largely propaganda.
She does. She offers some truly granular observations, things you wouldn't normally notice. For instance, Ione pinpoints a new tell in shapeshifters, a slight wobble, an inconsistency in their frequency.
A frequency wobble. Oh, yeah.
And she also identifies algorithmic manipulation online. She highlights seemingly absurd claims being pushed, like no beings that can produce offspring from a non-existent womb. And she points out inaccurate search results, specifically about male chromosomes.
So she sees this as deliberate manipulation.
Exactly. For her, it reflects the P.T.B's systemic attempt to establish control over all dimensions. And interestingly, she believes the very presence of Magicae, just through their energy signatures, is already causing aberrant patterns, kind of powerful passive resistance to those trying to impose control.
That's fascinating. What's particularly startling, though, is the idea you mentioned of direct monitoring, specifically for those with inherent magic. Ione even shares a coded warning.
Yes, she recounts this coded message from a colleague. Keep your left hand in your pocket if the MPS visits. The Ministry of Truth and Safety, apparently. And the reason? Because a Viking knot mark on the palm is believed to be a genetic marker present in certain magical bloodlines.
Wow, so like a hidden surveillance system looking for genetic markers.
That's the stark implication.
Yeah.
It suggests an unseen system specifically targeting those with inherent magical abilities, making their world feel even more, well, precarious.
Definitely. And the sisters also have these personal encounters that really underscore this deception and the constant vigilance they need. Nyla, the one in the secret canyon, she recounts running into someone at a grocery store.
That's right. Nyla describes this encounter with who she suspects was a sorceress, an old lady dressed in a, get this, Chanel-matching tracksuit.
Chanel tracksuit sorceress, love it.
But she says the woman's eyes were not right, too sharp, too aware for the facade she maintained. Nyla sensed sinister intent. And when Nyla just declared out loud, "I am not susceptible to your dark sorcery," apparently the illusion just broke.
It just broke.
Yeah. She later tries to classify this being as either facaded, meaning temporals trying to appear magical, or an actual dark sorcerer. It really highlights how these hidden elements are just integrated into mundane, everyday life for them.
Wild. Tess also shares that childhood memory, doesn't she? Of two red eyes in my closet that explicitly told her, the good are the choicest ones.
Which deeply shaped her understanding of the unseen from a young age.
And later, she describes a neighbor who actually transformed into the husband next door after being startled, like the illusion just dropped.
These personal accounts really emphasize that these illusions can break down, especially when confronted directly.
Yeah.
It's not always some grand battle. Sometimes it's just a subtle shift in perception or a sudden shock.
Right.
But maybe the most explicit confirmation of this kind of pervasive awareness or control comes when Nyla is visited by an MTS agent, this Agent Towson.
The Ministry of Truth and Safety guy?
Yeah. He appears as a human-temporal, totally normal, but Nyla says his dead calm betrayed his nature. And significantly, the donkeys on her property ignored him completely, and she sensed he was void of the obvious, encountering neither psychic nor material sense.
So, like, energetically blank.
Kind of, yeah. And this encounter confirms for them that their letters are being read, forcing them to basically do better, be more careful in their communication and vigilance.
Wow. So the sisters perceive this world in flux, almost describing it as a spiritual war of good versus evil, something the temporals, the unaware, are only just starting to maybe vaguely recognize.
Exactly. Nyla describes it quite vividly. She says, evil seeks the path of least resistance, hollowing them gradually from within. And she compares it to how food has lost the plot, striving to be entertaining versus nutritious.
That's a compelling analogy, the subtle internal nature of this unseen battle.
And this complex understanding extends to how Tess actually tries to classify the newly split realms of existence. It shows how they see every aspect of life being influenced or fractured.
Split realms? Like what?
Well, she details several distinct realms. There's the XXXY realm, which is, the traditional understanding of biology.
Right.
Then there's the ABC realm, where gender fluidity is paramount and biology is seen as insignificant. And the R&D Politico realm, driven by the P.T.B's motto, empire rules all.
Okay, so these are like different competing realities coexisting.
That's how Tess seems to perceive it, yeah. Those are just a few examples of how they perceive this fundamental fracturing of reality happening around them.
And this seems to echo Ione's assertion that politicos, as she calls them, exhibit characteristics consistent with human-reptilian hybrid soulless entities, based on their actions being utterly devoid of sympathy, empathy, or compassion. Again, presenting what's in the source here.
Right, it's Ione's observation within the letters.
It paints a truly stark picture, though, of systemic deception and control operating on multiple fundamental levels, according to these characters.
It absolutely does.
Okay, let's move now to the journey of self-awareness within the letters. Nyla reflects on Margaret's internal struggles, calling it the great work of self-revealed initiation. She says, the veil parts only for those with eyes willing to witness what lies beneath. This idea of free agency seems really central to their self-discovery, doesn't it?
It absolutely is. Nyla notes that free agency is a gift, but one wrapped in thorns and riddles. And she observes that temporals, the unaware, often willingly surrender it, preferring to blame external forces.
Right.
The analogy she uses about knowing when it will rain, is it prediction or simply seeing patterns, that really highlights the essence of deep sensing and trusting your inner knowing. It's about being truly attuned, not just guessing.
I like that. And Margaret also shares this really profound experience of listening to the loud hum of silence in the forest. She identifies it as presence, living substance, electrified with intelligence and awareness. She connects this to her childhood sense of an awareness beyond my small one, seeing all of manifest life as kind of child's play in comparison. It's a beautiful metaphor for gaining a higher perspective, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
Suggesting there's this deeper reality always available if you just listen carefully enough.
Yeah.
And speaking of truth and reality, here's where it gets really interesting regarding how easily truth can be manipulated, according to them. Tess uncovers what she sees as a startling historical manipulation,
Oh, what's that?
the 1752 adoption of the Gregorian calendar. She points out it effectively lost a year and almost 11 days from the calendar, and it shifted the start of the new year from spring to January 1st.
Huh. I vaguely remember something about lost days.
Right. And Tess notes that the tradition of April Fools was actually created, in her view, to mock those who clung to the old ways, the old calendar and the spring new year.
Mocking people for sticking to the old ways.
That's her interpretation. She sees it as a profound example of the P.T.B's psychological warfare machinations, actively shaping collective memory and history itself.
Wow. That certainly underlines the sisters' constant vigilance in questioning all told things, as they put it, and not just accepting official narratives. It's a powerful reminder for all of us, really, to critically examine what we're told is true.
Definitely. And building on that need for discernment, the conversation they have about guilds in their world offers a really fascinating parallel to modern structures and systems of control, I think.
Guilds. How so?
Well, Ivy, for example, faces pressure from these local Anis, described as a somewhat shadowy, robed group who start demanding fees for her spelled bread.
Ah, trying to regulate and tax her magic bread.
Exactly. It's a direct challenge to her autonomy and her craft. It forces her to confront these external systems trying to sort of monetize or control her innate abilities.
So what does she do? Does she pay?
Well, Margaret offers her this powerful counter-strategy. It's a spell called the Complex Circular Questioning Void, or CCQV.
The CCQV spell,
Yeah.
okay.
And it's designed, apparently, to make the recipient of the spell go in circles with paperwork and bureaucracy, basically turning the tables on those who try to assert control through red tape.
Huh. Fighting bureaucracy with magical bureaucracy. I love it.
Right. And Margaret also advises Ivy to let your heart ask the questions rather than your head when deciding which groups or affiliations to join or not join, which is such crucial advice for personal discernment in any context, really.
Absolutely. Heart over head for choosing affiliations.
And a key insight here is Margaret's contrasting example. She points to Temperance's loose group of foragers, plant lovers, herbalists as an example of an authentic, unchartered guild.
Unchartered meaning not official.
Exactly. This group prioritizes cooperation, generosity, and curiosity. They share knowledge without payment or pain, which contrasts sharply with what Margaret calls the competitive world of academic temporals.
So it's like community versus control.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's presented as this vibrant model for self-empowerment and community that values intrinsic worth and shared knowledge over external validation or fees. It offers a different path.
What an incredible deep dive through these letters of misunderstood magic. It's really something. We've seen how these sisters infuse their daily lives with such intention.
Navigating this world of hidden forces and shifting realities.
Right, and constantly striving for self-awareness and authentic connection from, Aunt Held scent magic to Ione's really detailed cryptid classifications.
And Margaret's dandelion coffee.
Yeah. And Ivy's healing teas. Every little detail invites us to look deeper into our own perceptions, doesn't it?
It really does. These women remind us that knowledge is probably most valuable when it's actually understood and applied, and that critical thinking is just absolutely essential in discerning what's true for you.
Yeah.
They encourage you, the listener, to question assumptions, maybe consider multiple perspectives, and find your own aha moments. To recognize the deep magic that could be inherent in just careful observation and clear intention.
So as you move through your own day, maybe consider this. If magic is truly the alchemy of the soul, as Tess puts it, what base metal of experience in your life are you ready to transmute into gold? And what hidden tell, like that frequency wobble Ione noticed, might be waiting for you to observe just beneath the surface of the seemingly ordinary world?